Okay, so we're going to be doing more review from that Schoology folder. I'll just kind of cut to the point. We are doing logs and exponentials. Here's some you need to know. 5 to the second to the third would be 5 to the fifth or 5 to the sixth? 5 to the sixth. All right, how about this? A to the second times A to the fourth. A to the, is it sixth or is it eighth? Sixth. Just kind of do to add them. Now, how do you know? Well, you can just say A squared is like this, and A to the fourth is like this, and it's all multiplies, like, you know, and this will multiply, so it becomes pretty obvious that you write it out. All right, here's another one. This is a little more complicated. 27 to the negative 2/3 power. Start by doing the 1/3 power. That's the root. Third root of 27. Don't say it. Figure it out in your head. Then square it. Then what's that negative mean? Flip it. Turn it my way. I'll tell you if you're right or not. Yep, 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 yep. Nope, you forgot to flip. Yep, 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 yep. All right. Yep, yep. Yes, sir? You're balancing. Yes, yes. Now, can you push it out further because I couldn't see your answer. All right, thank you. Good. So, first thing was cube root of 27, and that is 3. 3 squared is 9, and that makes it 1/9. All right. Now, why would you ever use that? What if it was the other way around? Log base 3 of, let's see, square root of 27. 1 over there. What? You just got to figure out that that is 3 to a power. You're really being asked to write 3 to some power is this big chunk. So then you'll have log base 3 of 3 to a power. What's the power? It's a fraction power. It's a negative fraction power. Just like when you're just going backwards. Okay? You with me? Do we? The problem on the board? No, you're not. All right. So, HN. What is the power that we're talking about here? Or just give me a shot at this. There is a 3 in it. It's going to be a negative. You're right. Okay, now, we can do this. There's 2 spots left. You said one of them's a 3, and I agree with you. Finish it. No, it's not 1/3. That would mean all we did is a cube root. See, the roots go on the bottom. So by saying a 3 on the bottom, you're saying it's a third root. I don't think you think that. What root is it? Good. It's a square root. So the roots go on the bottom. There we go. And the 3 was in it. It's on the top. Raise your hand if you had that one right. All right. That was only a few people. That was tough. Now, do you get this? This is a typical question you could have on the final. So, this part right here means 1 over or negative power. This part, roots go on the bottom. That takes care of almost all of it. All that's left is how do you get a 3 to turn into a 27? The third power. What's going on the bottom? Negative means it flips it. All right, let's do another one like that. Log base 2 of 64, but it's not the regular 64. It's the 4th root of 64. You could rewrite that as a 2 to the power, and then you'll know the answer. Because it'll be log base 2 of 2 to a power. Question is, what power is it? 2 to what? All right, I'm going to give you a hint. 6 and 4. That's 2 to the 6th. Two to the 6th power. So then roots go on the bottom. That only leaves one thing left. The roots go on the bottom. There we go. And then this is 2 to the 6th makes the 64 part, so that's got to be a 6. So then, wait a minute, that's weird. 6/4. What's that say? 3 halves. So log base 2 of 2 to the 3 halves. And that means if these two are the same, the answer is 3 halves. Granted, 6/4 would have been a good answer. Did anybody have that one? All right, so you're stretching some of these guys, so it was less than half of you. Log base 5 of the 4th root of 25, and it's 1 over that. You could rewrite that as 5 to a power, you'll have it. There's 3 parts. Either negative power or it's not. The top and the bottom is the roots of the bottom. Pause for a second, let me try that. So, how many of you think, if this is on the final, that it's a fairly easy question? Okay. All right, how about this? How many of you think there's a better than 50-50 chance that you have it right now? Almost there. Okay, good. Then, here you go. Let's see if you got it right. What does that 1 over mean? Negative power. So it's log base 5 of 5 to a negative power. And then what is that power? It's something over something. Tell me one part of it. 4 is the 4th root, and it goes on the bottom. You are correct, and then there's only one thing left. How do we get a 5 to turn into a 25? I square it. So, final answer, negative 2/4. Could you reduce that? Of course you could. Negative what? Yeah. Any other questions on that one? All right. Then, let's move up to this kind. This is just a rewrite. Rewrite this. It's a log right now, and if it's written in a weird way so the x is buried, you need to undo that and get it out of log form and write it as an exponential, like 7 to the 3rd equals x or something like that. Pause while you try that one. What do you think on this one? You could tell it's you, right? 3 to the equals money in the bank. Okay, who had that one? Raise your hand if you had that one. Okay, good. Now let's rewrite it again with the x in a different spot. Log base x of 5 equals 4. X in the base this time. So we can do a rewrite. Mr. B, you're up. You're warm, but not correct. Trying. How about this? I'm going to tell you what to start with. Start with the x. X. And then you have to jump to the other side. That is correct. Now, is that solved all the way? No. All right? Mr. M in the corner. From the hat. Go ahead. Put it to the 4th power. So final answer, x equals 5 to the 1/4. Oh, it's so close, but it is wrong. Who knows what's wrong? Plus and minus. One of the top students pulls it out. Why is it plus and minus? Because you just did even root. Plus and minus. And I guarantee you that would have been like option A would have been without the plus minus. People go, oh, there it is. And they forget the plus minus. You should read all the options. Very good. And you might go, oh, wait a minute. It's a plus and a minus. All right. There's a few other top students in here. There's not just one. All right. Ready? Next one. Log base x plus 4 of 3 equals 2. This is going to separate the algebra students from the not so good at algebra. I'm going to pause, make a position. All right, this is a good example of how to do it. He took x plus 4 and said squared because that goes to this power. And to fix it, he put a 1/2 power on both sides, and he remembered to put in the plus and minus, but I got to make sure that this is actually going to come out right, because what I would have done right here is I would have said absolute value of x plus 4, because when you square root a variable, you're supposed to put absolute values. It equals square root of 3. And I would have written it this way. X, somebody's talking, stop it. And x plus 4 is equal to negative square root of 3. Okay, so those are your two options. Then I'm going to subtract 4 from this, and I'm going to subtract 4 from this. I'm not sure if that comes out the same as your answer. I'm going to find out. X equals square root of 3 minus 4, and the negative square root of 3 minus 4. And is that the same thing as what you said? You said positive square root of 3 minus 4 and negative square root of 3 minus 4. Yes, your way works. We verified it. I did it a little different, but either way, there's two somewhat complicated answers there, all based on the fact when we did the square root, we needed absolute value of x plus 4. Okay, that was a tough one. So that's some logs stuff. It's not all of logs, a bunch of logs. We also need to know how to graph them. Do you remember me saying that a log is like a tree that got blown over in the wind? That's a graph of a log. Okay? Now, what if I wanted to make it shift right 3? Then I got to go y equals log of x. And this, if I don't say a base, it means base what? 10. Okay? Log base 10 of x. And then if I wanted to shift to the right 3 spots, in here I would put a what? Minus 3. Very good. And then that would make this graph move 3 spots to the right. So here I'm copying the graph 3 spots to the right. There we go. Now it's moved 3 spots to the right. Okay? All right, that is a typical log graph. How about a typical exponential graph? Exponentials. They have an x in the exponent. That is a typical exponential what? Graph. Exponential what, though? Growth. Because that's as opposed to exponential what? Decay, which goes down like that. It gets smaller and smaller and smaller as you go to the right. Think about it. If the population of blue-footed boobies is going away dramatically. Yes, it's true. I went to Hawaii and I saw 5,000 boobies. Blue-footed boobies, that is. The bird! It's a bird! Okay, anyway, moving on. Let's get to some exponential problems that you might have to do. All right, so let's say I had 3 to the negative 2 equals 9 to the 4th. Can you rewrite that so they both have the same base? If you can, you're one step closer to doing well on your final. I'll pause for a moment while you give that a shot. Okay. This one already has a base of 3, so I like it the way it is. This one I'm going to change to 3 squared to the 4th. And now, this is the same as this. This is the same as this. These bases are the same. Then, once that's all set up, this must be that equals that. Now, is this true? Is negative 2 equal to 8? Whenever you solve an equation that comes out with a false statement, what do you know? How about this? It is not true. Not equals would be suffice. Okay. Now, what if I wanted to make it equal? Well, then I'd have to put an x up here. So let's say the problem had an x right there. Then I would have an x right here. And then how would I do it from there? I'd have negative 2 is equal to 2 times 4x is 8x, and then you could finish the deal. And I'm going to divide by 8. That way x is alone. Negative 2a is same as negative 1/4 x equals negative 1/4. Yay. Got my answer. Okay. Let me give you another one like that. 5 to the negative 3rd is equal to 125 to the 2x. Solve. Make the bases the same. there. It won't be too tough. Okay. Mr. D in the back. Get me started. Awesome. 5 to the what? Did I do it right so far? Okay, now what? Okay, once you get them, you're so close. Now you just say, I don't look at those anymore. That equals that. Negative 3 equals, what's the other one going to be? When you have a power to a power like this, 6 multiply. That times that. Okay, so that's a 3, by the way, in case it's not clear. And then, I'm almost done, dividing by 6 on both sides. X equals negative 1/2. Raise your hand if you had that one right. The vast majority. Good job. Question on that? Question? All right. Okay. Now, let's move on to, we've done common bases. Let's do somewhere, I'm going to pause for a moment, pull up the worksheet that we need to cover for today. Okay, so we've already had covered sequences and loans and investments. Today we're covering exponentials and logs. And your assignment is to do the Schoology quiz that's under exponentials, the top one, and then the top Schoology quiz under logarithms. Okay. Pausing again. I'm sorry, just to clarify, I was not in the, those are the right 2 units, but I was in the ones with the second semester final review. That's where I should have been. Sorry. Is right here, second semester final review. And you had already done the top 2. Today we're doing exponentials and logs right here, 11 and 12, and they're these blue folders. And in there, there's only one. Actually, there's 2, sorry. You do only one of these, the top one. And that's this one right here. Final review, exponents review, A. Got 12 questions. Now, I'm going to look for just a moment to see if there's any topics here in exponents that I feel like I haven't covered well enough yet. Yes, real world problems. We should talk about those. We already talked about fraction exponents, so I think the rest is okay. All right, so let's talk about real world exponential kind of problems. So imagine for a moment you got a bad situation. You're in Hawaii and the sharks decide to simultaneously attack all the tourists in the water. Sharks unite. And not Sharknado, this is more of a union thing. So anyway, so sharks unite together and they say, you know what, not enough of these people swimming off of our coast, we're going to eat them. And simultaneously, all the sharks attack all the people in the water. So there is a decay rate for the number of tourists that are in Hawaii. So we're going to go with y equals a, b to the x, and this is my decay rate. So I'm going to say, let's say there were 3,000 tourists in Hawaii. I'm sure there's way more than that, but it's a nice number. And then I'd say 1 minus, let's say they lose 20% of the tourists. It would go like that. Now this implies that people are dumb enough to keep going out and get eaten by the ravenous sharks, even though they heard about in last night's news how everybody was eaten on the shores of Hawaii. But if we kept going like this, what if I said, when will we be down to only 1,000 tourists? Where would the 1,000 go, in the x or in the y? The y, because the x is time. I didn't say how long it would take. I said we'd be down to 1,000 tourists. So then we could solve for x. Another way to do the problem would be to say, what happens if we do this for 3 days in a row? And assuming the formula's in days, we put a 3 right there. And you could solve it for y and say how many tourists do we have left if this happens 3 days in a row. Okay. All right, so that is a typical question. I'm going to give you a new one, and I want you to write me an equation for it. There are 25 newts living in your basement. They're multiplying at a frightening rate. They're going up by 75% per year. So you now want to know how long until you have 500 newts. Just have to set up the equation. How many were in your basement in the first place? 25 newts in the basement. And they're going up by 75%. And we want to know when it would end up with 500 newts. All right, the equation for that one. Y equals, hold on, 25 to start. You with me so far? Next, in here we need the growth or decay rate. Is this growth or decay? Growth, so it's 1 plus 0.75. And what else do I need to make this exponential? An x in the exponent. Now, what number haven't I used yet? The 500. 500 is the number I haven't used yet. And where should it go? What? So now it's 500 equals blah, blah, blah. That's your equation. On this one, we'd actually have to graph both sides to solve it, or rewrite it as a log. I could show you how it wouldn't be that hard to rewrite as a log. I'd divide by 25 on both sides to get the clump alone. I don't think we'd have anything this hard in the test. And then I'd say 500 divided by 25 is going to be 20. Equals 1.75 to the x. And what if I can't solve it? X is in a weird place. Rewrite. This would be log base what? No, it's not base 20. What's the base in this problem right here? 1.75. Log base 1.75. Then you got to jump to the other side. Pick up the 20. Jump back. Equals x. Here's your answer. Could you put that in the calculator? Does your calculator do 1.75 base? No, calculators only do what base? Base 10. But could you type it into the calculator as a base 10 problem? Yes. What would you type in? Log 20 divided by log 175. 1.7. That's correct. That's how that would get typed in. Do you remember that? I didn't do too many where you typed them in the calculator, but that's how you do it. I'm not saying anything that you don't have to know. You have to know everything. Log 20 over log 1.75. All right, so I'll show you another one, but it's not going to change. It's log what over log what? That's it. That's all there is to it. Okay, so there's a little taste of real world exponential kind of problem. Logs, there's a few patterns you have to know. Here's one. What's the answer to this one? You can say equals x, and anytime they don't have an x, you can say equals x, and then you could rewrite it. 2 to the x equals what? You can rewrite here. Equals -5. How do you take a 2? Put it to a power and make it -5. And therefore, there's no solution. Why is there no solution? You may have forgotten this, but you're not allowed to have a negative right there because it would cause it to be impossible. Here's another related problem. Log base 3 of 3. What's the answer? Log base 3 of 3. What? What's the answer now? 5. Paying attention? Some of you aren't even looking at the board. Stay with me. Look up. These aren't in your notes. Log base 3, 3 to the 5th. What's the answer? 5. If these two are the same, that one's your answer. Okay? Log base 5 of 125. You could rewrite 125 as 5 to the 3rd, and therefore the answer is? It's not 5 to 5. 5 to the 3rd. And therefore, what's the answer? Yep. And the answer is 3. Okay, here's another one that's a pattern you should know. 10 log base 10 of 12. There's an answer. Boom. Done. What is it? 12. Look. Base. Base. Bases are the same. Ever heard of that? Some kind of special app. Right? And the answer is the argument. The upper one. 12. How about this? Log. No. 10 log 3. This time the bases aren't the same. Come on, just don't believe everything the teacher tells you. What do you mean they are the same? There is no base over there. But that means there's a 10 there, which means the bases apparently are the same, and therefore the answer is what? 3. All right. How about this one? Log base 2 of 1. Yes. That one. You are exactly right. Apparently I said that. If you've won the argument, you get nothing. Answer 0. Try it on the calculator if you don't believe me. Log 1 divided by log 2, and you'll get 0. Okay, so I just request that in life to have an argument that's kind of irrelevant. Get all mad at your friend over this stupid thing like Domino's pizza is better than Frankie's pizza, and then you win the argument because you've proven it with a small survey of your friends, and now your friend's just angry with you, and you lost a friend, you won the argument, you got nothing. Okay, anyway, so if you see a 1 in the argument, boom, you got an answer and it's 0. What if there's a 1 in the base? Boom, you have an answer, and the answer is there is no answer. You can't do that. That's illegal. Just like having negatives here or here, you can't have a 1 in the base. Illegal. No solution. Yes. Yes. Okay. Are you saying they gave you a graph like that? Okay. And what information did they give you exactly? Oh, so it basically got moved. All right, so I'm going to take this, pretty much copy the first one, and I'm going to move it down and to the left. If I knew that this point and this point were the same, you would say to yourself, oh, looks like it's been moved down, maybe down 3 and 2 to the right. Okay, so if I had taken this parent graph, let's say that was the parent graph. If I want to go down 3 and 2 to the right, I go y equals 2 to the x, but down 3 means minus 3. And then 2 to the right would put in what the x, remember how to do this? Minus 2. That'd be 2 to the right. So this means take your parent and move it 2 to the right. That means take the parent and move it down 3. Yes, ma'am. How do I know what's to the power? Are you asking what the base is? Okay, define the base. You have to plug in some points. So I guess I'm not clear exactly on this question you're talking about. So why don't you show me this question? Okay, that one tells you the parent. So I don't think we have ever given you any where we don't tell you the parent. But it doesn't it tell you the parent? It doesn't tell you this somewhere? Okay, we would be telling you that parent. Yes. Yes. Here is log base e of x. Here's how it's usually written. It's usually written y equals ln x, like that. Okay? Do you get that ln means log base e? Okay? So then what is that? That's just a number. Just like if I said base 2. This is base 3 almost. To be specific, what is e about? 2.7. 2.718. Very good. Okay? So then you're just saying it's log base 2.718. Alright, so how would you use this? Same way you do all the other ones. So here's that same pattern you've seen before. Log base e of e to the 5th. What's the answer? What if I said this? ln e to the 5th. Exact same thing, isn't it? Yeah, it looks tricky. The answer's 5. Good. Alright. That's a little bit about log base e. And it looks like all the other log graphs. Log like a tree being blown over in the wind. Here's the roots. Here's the top part of the tree. See me? Alright. I think that's enough review for today on logs and exponentials. There's lots in there. And when you do the first Schoology quiz from each one, from each folder, just the first one, so that's 2 Schoology quizzes assigned tonight, then you'll be all caught up. And when we meet again, which isn't, pretty sure it's not tomorrow. Tomorrow, yep, we have tomorrow off from this class, and then I'll see you again last 2 hours, Wednesday. And that'll be the time when we really finish off the review here, and you'll. I think you're going to do fine in this final. It's a multiple choice final, so that helps. And I mean, it does deceive kids sometimes because they think they're right because we have the common mistake answers in there, so they see it and they go, oh yeah, I got that one right because they thought 7 was the answer. Well, that's the common mistake answer. So anyway, you can't just assume when you walk out of there that you nailed it, but at least multiple choice, generally speaking, aren't as scary to finish because if you get time crunch, you can go quicker. And it's not being graded Marzano style or anything, so you just simply have a percentage, just normal percent. I would say for most people, really, unless you plan to study a ton, I wouldn't expect it to raise your grade. I would be studying hard just to try to keep your grade the way it is. And some of you will not study hard enough and you will do badly on the final, and it will lower your grade. But the most it usually lowers a grade is half of the grade. Unless we're talking you get an F on the final, in which case you might go down 2 half grades from like an A minus to a B plus, B minus, for instance. So I guess you could say that's a full grade. So that could happen, but it's pretty rare. However, betting money, I would say 3/4 of the class stays the same as their current grade. 1/4 of the class goes down a grade. And I know that's a whole 100%, but maybe one kid goes up. That's probably like a B plus kid who really, really studies hard gets a straight A on the test. It happens. All right, so what I'm trying to say is don't stress out huge, but study for it so at least you don't lower your grade. You don't want to be the kid who drops your grade. Okay, that's all I have for you for today.